Hello everyone and welcome back to Robe Reviews, the show where one opinionated man in a bathrobe watches and critiques movies. And today, I'm taking matters into my own hands. Instead of falling victim to current releases one more time, I'm picking the goddamn movie. Now I want to talk about one that I think really fell through the cracks for a lot of people. Partially to blame is Netflix, that does little to no promotion for new releases. One day a movie just appears on the platform and it's something like Extraction or Underground 6. I'm like, eh. And then a week later it's gone and something I care about equally less takes its place instead. But that's not the case with this one. This movie was one of my favorites, if not the outright favorite of all of last year. And perfect timing for its Oscar nominations for Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, among others. I'll be reviewing The Trial of the Chicago 7.
We're going to Chicago to protest the Vietnam War.
Written and directed by Aaron Sorkin, based on that alone you already know this movie is going to be good. And this is his second auteur project after writing and directing Molly's Game, which is really great as well. This movie is the dramatic retelling of the real story of the Chicago 7, who were famous anti-Vietnam activists who were arrested and put on trial after protesting outside the 1968 Democratic National Convention, which became violent after police and other authorities intervened. Sound familiar? Not surprisingly, this story remains incredibly powerful and relevant and current in regards to power inequities, race relations, police brutality, and protests literally happening this very day. And I'm already getting ahead of myself. So, I got my rope tight, drink at the ready, so without any further ado, let's get into it.
Open your eyes, 'cause a new day.
I barely know where to start with this review. Name an aspect of this movie. From writing, directing, acting, cinematography, music, and most importantly story, are all incredibly well done. If someone told you briefly about a movie mostly set in a courtroom about a Vietnam War protest, you'd probably say, it sounds kind of like a boring idea. But Sorkin took this less than exciting concept and made it into one of the most emotional, intense, powerful, and engaging movies that I've seen in a really long time.
Wow.
At the heart of his movies, as always, is incredible dialogue and storytelling. In his typical Sorkin fashion, all characters are incredibly brilliant. Their arguments are lightning fast and clever and poignant, and in many scenes, a perfect line of dialogue at the perfect moment just gives you goosebumps.
Wow.
It's seriously that good. And while some people complain about his romanticized and often over-the-top exchanges between characters, I for one will never get tired of it. Part of the reason is because the cast that delivers his dialogue is also incredible. It has Eddie Redmayne, Mark Rylance, Jeremy Strong, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and with a surprise performance of the year, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Wow.
Each actor absolutely nails their role, but Sacha as activist Abby Hoffman brings a humor and intensity that I didn't know he was capable of. Absolutely blew me away.
Wow.
Each scene is beautifully crafted. In terms of the visual composition, with the directing and cinematography,
Wow.
with the tension and relationships between characters,
Wow.
and also how each scene ties into the entirety of the story.
Wow.
The pacing is relentless, and in the best kind of way. Sorkin cleverly cuts in and out of the courtroom, to moments during the protest, to moments with an individual character, or all of the characters in one room, or Abby Hoffman narrating the events like a stand-up comic in front of a crowd. All of the scenes are very carefully weaved together, and it's done extremely well.
Wow.
This movie could easily fall flat with conventional storytelling and a linear structure. Especially true if you're stuck in a courtroom for a long period of time and it feels like the plot really isn't going anywhere. So this story choice and editing choice is brilliant because it keeps the audience on their toes and we don't know what's coming next.
Wow.
A telltale sign for me when I'm not engaged in a movie is when I check to see how much runtime is left. But not a single time did I check my watch or phone or the runtime during this movie.
Wow.
It had me the whole way. Do I have anything negative to say about this movie? Not seriously. There are times when the dramatization goes a little too far, and as an audience member we're asking ourselves, did this really happen, or is this just a movie moment? So sometimes it stretches the truth, but every movie based on a real story does the exact same thing, and some are worse than others. For example, in this movie there are moments in the courtroom with the overtly evil judge that seem to go a little too far. And we need to hate him so that our hero's defiance seems really powerful, but sometimes it just seems unrealistic.
Nope.
Other moments with the riot or the protest seem a little exaggerated as well, but then again I don't really mind. It's not a documentary. It's a movie that's meant to be entertaining, and some slight stretching of the truth in this case seems totally fair. And that's it. That's all the negative things.
Wow.
So, as is tradition, I'm going to give this movie a score out of 100. So, drum roll please.
How much is it worth to you? What's your price?
To call off the revolution?
My life.
Score of 90. This movie was fantastic, but I'm leaving a little bit of headroom for movies to come. I finished watching this movie and just continued to sit and watch the credits and think and process everything that I saw. It was just that powerful. It made me think about the absurdity of the Vietnam War and all the wars like it that followed. It made me think about the protests and violence and racial battles today. the power struggles with police and governments, and all the parallels that we see in our country today. This movie stayed with me for a long time, and still stays with me. And at the end of the day, that's what I want from a movie. Something that moves me and makes me think and stays with me and changes the way I look at things and elicits all kinds of different emotions. I want movies to make me feel something that maybe I don't know how to properly articulate or describe, but in some way that experience of wrestling with those unknown thoughts and ideas and processing them, it turns into this kind of transformative experience. And it doesn't have to be a serious drama. There are definitely lighter movies that accomplish this, or sci-fi movies, or big concept movies, but so often they just choose not to. They remain surface level to appeal to a broad audience and sell tickets and merchandise and amusement park rides, and it's sad. But when I see a movie like this, it gives me hope for movies again. And on that note, there's a lot more movies to watch and a lot more reviews to be had. I'll see you on the next one.